Guys, I've got a message today that I'm actually a little bit worried to say because I think it's going to come out wrong. And I don't really script my videos. I just come up with a title/idea and then go off that. I don't actually know what the title's going to be. I've got an idea. You need to talk to women in a relationship/when flirting as if they're your younger sister, as if they're your younger sibling. Now, I'm actually an only child, so I don't have the most authority to speak on that, but I understand exactly what that means. What it means is, you are probably currently talking to women very seriously, asking a lot of them, are you around Thursday? Okay, what about Friday? What about Saturday? What about Sunday? Asking a lot of them, not really taking control, not really taking the piss, and that's massively what you need to be doing in talking to them like you would a younger sibling. You know, kind of like having a laugh with them, taking the piss, not really taking them too seriously, being playful, all that type of thing. Why? Because everyone talks to women so seriously. And why do they do that? Why do they feel a need to talk to women so seriously? The fact is, everyone pedestalizes women. It's the halo effect, right? Everyone looks at girls and thinks, oh, she's attractive, so I'm going to talk to her. Let's try and zoom this bad boy in. There we go, look at that. I'm going to talk to her more seriously than what I would to others. It's actually kind of subconscious. Because you pedestalize someone and you're actually looking for something from that person, and like you would a guy who you would normally take the piss to, because you're pedestalizing them, you actually are more serious to them because you feel like there's something that you're trying to get from them, be it sex, be it a relationship, be it whatever you're after, probably sex or relationship. Because you feel like you're trying to get something from them, you put more pressure on yourself to talk to them, and therefore kind of the humor disappears and the piss taking disappears and only seriousness comes out. And that's where you're massively going wrong with women, is you're taking them too seriously. Now, this isn't a misogynistic point of don't take women seriously. It's a point of you take the piss out of everyone else. Why don't you take the piss out of girls? Why don't you tell her that, I don't know, tell her that her bag is not nice or something like that, right? Do it with a smile and a laugh and a joke. Stop being so serious with people. You need to take the piss and never be serious with them. So rarely be serious with them. Because that's kind of like the roller coaster of emotions that everyone in life wants to go on. That's why you like your friends, because they're funny, but they're also smart. And they kind of make you feel positive and they make you feel a bit negative sometimes. And that roller coaster of emotions between the intellect and the humor and the everything else that comes with emotions that you can possibly feel, that your friends make you feel, that's what women also want to feel, because women are people. But the problem is, if you're going to women just being serious and you're not being playful and you're not taking the piss and you're not kind of, you know, play fighting them, if you will, depending on the stage that you're at with them. I mean, on a first date, I wouldn't go play fighting anyone. But because you're not doing that, you're only making them feel one emotion, which is probably like they're your boss, which is the completely wrong dynamic, because you're probably being that serious to them. Well, when can we go out? I don't know, I'll see. Well, what about Thursday? Whoa, what's this? Like, you're trying to book a meeting with me? Like, you need to have the playfulness inside of you as well, because that's where a lot of guys go wrong. They don't have that playfulness. They're very serious to them. To women, that is. Now, you do need to talk to them as if they're your younger sibling. Don't really take them too seriously. Women are far different from men in that you shouldn't really trust what they say, because they're a lot more emotional based than what guys are logic based. It's just a fact of the matter, right? If you look at charisma and you break it down into competence and warmth, which are the two ingredients to charisma, women trend to be higher in warmth while guys trend to be higher in competence. So generalization, you have to make generalizations. What does that mean? If you haven't seen my charisma video, this does relate to the point. Competence is generally perceived level of intellect, not necessarily actual intellect. This is all about perception. If your perception of someone's competence is higher, then it means that you trust them more. If your perception of someone's warmth is higher, it means that they make you feel better about yourself and your environment and everything else, right? Guys trend to be higher in competence. Women trend to be higher in warmth. And because of that, because they tend to be higher in warmth, it means that they're a lot more like, yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, that would be amazing. Oh, I can't wait. And that doesn't mean that in the moment they don't mean it. It just means that they say things that they don't mean later on down the line. They say things that they mean only in the moment. And so you can't really trust them all the time with what they're saying, because they are more higher in warmth typically. And so guys, stop taking women so seriously. If they even if a woman like rejects you, this is a separate point, but if a woman rejects you, this is going to be an extreme point, right? But if you're out in the street and a woman rejects you and therefore you're like, right, I'm worthless, like I'm a piece of shit, like no one cares about me, that's so untrue, because for all you know, she just got rejected from a job interview and her nan just died, and then you've come up to her in the street and said, oh, well, will you marry me? And she's just said no. But if you'd have done it a week earlier, she would have said yes, because women, as people in general, are emotional, and women just trend higher to the level of emotion. So you must treat them back with that same level of like, yeah, whatever, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what, yeah, you say that now, but we'll see. You need to treat them back with that. And it's that playfulness of like, yeah, whatever. You know, you need to have that attitude, because as well, if you're having that attitude to someone, I think particularly in a romantic interest, people in general, and this is kind of a shame to say, but people don't like getting what they know they can get, and they like chasing things that they know they might be able to get, but they're not 100% sure they can. And if you're being more playful with them instead of putting yourself on a plate for them, they're way more inclined to be like, I'm interested because he must have something of value. He must be a relative person of value. Now, it's not exactly a conscious thought. No one measures things in like SMV, as they would have said back in the day, sexual market value or social hierarchies or anything like that. No one looks at it like that. But if you're less giving yourself up on a platter for people, then people are more inclined to go, oh, like he must have something, they must have something. And they're therefore going to want to talk to you and chase you a little bit more. It's not to say it's a mind game that you should consciously play, it's just a bonus side effect. You shouldn't be more playful specifically for that purpose, thinking, yeah, but I'm going to make her chase me. No, you should be more playful because that's the way you should just be. The bonus is, it makes people chase you more. Women in particular, less so like in platonic relationships, more so in romantic relationships. People are going to chase you more if you're more playful and kind of dismissive of them, and not their emotions. And this is a completely different topic. Do I do this in the same video? I'll touch on it. You should dismiss everything a woman says apart from her serious emotions, in which case you should mentally dismiss them, but pay attention to them to her, if that makes sense. So if a woman is just like having a go at you for nothing, you should think like, yeah, she's just like being a woman again, being her again. That's completely okay. As some guys do as well. Like everyone loses their head sometimes. And mentally you should dismiss that and be like, right, there's probably a deeper reason. Let me find the deeper reason, because the reason that she says she's upset is probably not the reason that she's upset. Completely different topic. And therefore you should dismiss what she says and then just actually look for the reason yourself, which you can probably track back to something else that's happened throughout the day, throughout the last week. Completely different topic. And we've completely come off how you should talk to women as if they're your younger sibling. And guys, this maintains in a relationship too. It's not just about when you're dating someone in the dating stages, as opposed to being boyfriend and girlfriend. It's the relationship status too. There's a song called Keep the Fire Burning. That's what it's called. I can't think of who it's by, but it's called Keep the Fire Burning. And the song is literally Keep the Fire Burning. It's about how to continue being in love and being, chasing someone and chasing after someone when you're in a relationship and keeping the fire burning. That's the whole preface of the song. And one of the lyrics is, the same thing you took to get that love are the same things that you have to do to get it. Great general relationship rule. Whatever you did before getting into a relationship with someone, you should continue to do it when you're in a relationship. If you were getting a bunch of flowers, you should continue doing that in a relationship. Your standards should not fall. And so therefore, same line of thought, if you're taking the piss with someone before you get in a relationship, you should do the same when you're in the relationship. Now, what does that also mean? It also means that you should be yourself when taking the piss and when going on your first, second, third, fifth, 100th date or whatever you're doing, because that's the standard that you're going to have to maintain when you're in the relationship, which could be bloody years and decades if you get married with them. So there's just a couple of random, we've gone off on a complete tangent. But yeah, you should treat women romantically as if they're your younger sibling. I hope you got some value from that. If there's any questions, do let me know. I'll be intrigued. And yeah, otherwise, guys, have a great rest of your day.